Hi loves, in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you on how to cut and sew a bootcut pants. As the name implies, it is usually tied from the waist down to the knee, and then from this knee it becomes very free, as you can see. If this sounds like what you're interested in learning, keep on watching and let's get started. I've been making use of these 2 yards of crepe I have on top the table, and I also have my ruler. I have my hip cuff right there and my straight ruler. I have all my measurements written down on this paper: my waist measurement, my hip, the thigh, the knee. The ankle is also needed, even though it's not on this paper, the length, and then the knee points. From the thigh to the knee and to the ankle is usually divided by 2 when you are making a trouser, and then from the waistline to the hip is divided into 4. So guys, let's get started. Now, because of the fabric I'm making use of, which is crepe, you might not be able to see my marks when I chalk it down on the fabric, so I've decided to make use of a pattern paper. Now, to draft out your trouser, whenever you're making a trouser, you have to have a horizontal line and a vertical line. So from the top of my paper I came down by 1 inch, and from the CF of this paper I came in by 3 inches. 3 inches is because I am making a boot cut. If you are making a normal trouser, go ahead and come in by just 1 inch. Okay, I'm going to place my tape on the starting points, which is the 1 inch mark, and I'll be dividing my hip circumference by 4. Whatever it is I have, I'm going to mark it down, and that becomes my crouch depth. This implies that to get your crouch depth, you're going to be dividing your hip circumference by 4. So I've marked it down and drew my line across. Now, after this, from this crouch line, I'm going to mark up 2.5 inches, and this becomes my hip point. Okay, some people also make use of 2 inches. It all depends on the height of your client. So you can see I have the waist point, I have the hip point, and then I have the crouch depth. Now from here, the next thing I'm going to do is to also divide my hip circumference by 4, just to mark out my hip measurement. Okay, but to do that, I'm going to mark it on the waistline, on the hip line, and then on the crouch line. So I'm going to now use my straight ruler and connect all these points together. Now after this, next I'm going to have to mark out my knee points. So I'm going to place my tape on the waist and then mark down to 21 inches. Now this becomes the knee point. Now after marking it out, I'm going to draw it across as well. Now after this, I'm equally going to place my tape on the waist point and then mark down to my length of trouser. So the length of my trouser is 42 inches, but I'm going to mark down 43 inches because of my folding allowance. So as you can see, I'm trying to mark out this 43 inches. After doing that, I'm equally going to draw the line across. Now that I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excess paper. You can see I tried using my fabric scissors to cut on paper. Please do not try this. It is not good because it will blunt your scissors. So now I have my knee point and then the length of my trouser. Now I'm going to come over to the crouch line and I'll be inputting my lap measurement right there. So go ahead and divide your lap circumference by 2. Whatever it is that you have, mark it out, and then on this point I'm going to come out by 1.25 inches. Some people do 1.5, but I've decided to do 1.25 inches. It also depends on the size of the person that you are working on. Okay, so now after this, I will move over to the waist, and from this point you can see where I'm placing my points. Go ahead and divide your waist circumference by 4. So whatever it is that you have, mark it out. Now let's assume you want to input your darts. Let's say you want to make use of darts. From this point, go ahead and mark out 1 inch for darts. Okay, but for this particular tutorial I'm not going to make use of darts. Now after this, you're going to move over to the crouch line again, and you're going to divide whatever you have there into two. So whatever you have, go ahead and start from this point and input it just like this. So we are trying to divide our trouser into two equal halves. Okay, so whatever I have, I'm going to mark it on the waistline, on the knee line, and then down to the length. So this means that we have succeeded in dividing our trouser into equal halves, and this line is called the grain line. So I'm going to use my straight ruler to connect all the points together down to the length of the trouser, as you can see. And then I'm going to label this the grain line. This means that this is the middle of my trouser. Do you understand? So now let's assume you want to add up a dart. This is where you're going to input your darts. Okay, now but we are not making use of darts, so we are going to continue. Now from the knee point down to the length, which is the ankle, I'm going to be dividing all the measurements I have right there by 2. Remember, like I said, from the waist to the hip is divided by 4. From the knee downwards is divided by 2. But because we are cutting on folds, we are going to further divide by 2 again. This means that I'll be dividing my knee circumference by 4. So whatever I have, I'm going to share it equally on both sides. Do you understand? So I'm going to place it on this side and equally place on the other side. So I've done that, and I went ahead to connect it to the crouch line, and then the other side I'll be connecting it to the other side of the crouch. Okay, but you guys, you can see I mistakenly connected to the hip, so I canceled it out. Now I'm going to go ahead and connect it properly. Sorry about that. Now after this, I'll move over to the length, and I'll be dividing the ankle circumference by 2. After dividing by 2, further divide by 2 again. This means we are dividing the ankle by 4, and then you place 3 on this side and place 3 on the other side, because my ankle circumference is 12. Please go with your own measurements. My ankle circumference is 12, so I divided into 4 and mark 3 inches on both sides. So I'm trying to connect it properly. So guys, you can see, let's say you are making a straight pant. This is it. I have my straight pant, but because we are making a boot cut pants, what I'm going to do is on this ankle point, I'm going to take it out by 3 inches. Now it all depends on how wide you want this place to look. Okay, you can make use of 5, you can make use of 4, you can make use of 2. It all depends on how full you want the damn parts to look. So I went ahead to connect this from the knee point down to this hemline. So this means that this point is cancelled out. Now I'm going to measure what I have in between these points, and I'm going to mark it out on this other side. Okay, and then connect the other parts of the knee down to that particular line. Okay, now it all depends on how you want to do this. If you don't want to do it just like I did mine, you can equally come out from the other side by 3 inches and connect. Okay, they're all the same thing. So guys, you can see we already have our front block. Okay, so I'm just trying to let you know that you can like manipulate this however you want. Now I'm going to go ahead and connect from my waistline to the hip, and then the next thing I'm going to do is from this waist I'm going to come down by 1 inch, just like this. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm going to come down by 1 inch and connect it back to the waistline. Okay, this is to avoid any form of bulge around the front parts, because of those people that actually have big tummy. Okay, so that the trouser will relax properly well around your tummy. Okay, now after this I went ahead to cut this out. You can see I started from my initial waistline to cut out. Okay, I did not cut out from the 1 inch that I just took down. All right, leave it for now. By the time you are done cutting out the back, then you can trim that off. So I am done cutting out the front block. Now we are going to draft out the back. So I'm going to bring in a fresh pattern paper for our back, and you guys, this is it. Now I'm going to place it in, which is I'm going to place the front pattern in, and then make sure I use my pins to hold it down. Now after holding it down, I will go ahead and mark out all my important points. Okay, so for the back crouch extension, I'm going to be making use of 2.5 inches. I just marked it out and extended the line. Now I'm going to equally extend the knee points and equally the length. Can you see what I'm doing? All the important points, go ahead and extend it out, okay, so that you won't get confused when you are trying to draft out the back. So like I said, the back crouch extension is 2.5 inches. You can as well make use of 2 inches. It all depends. So from this point, I'm going to go down by half an inch, and that is going to be where I'll be connecting my new crouch for the back. Okay, now after this, I'm going to measure out my waist measurements, okay, just like I just showed you. And on this point, I'm going to come out by 2.5 inches and then raise it up by 1 inch. Remember that we went down for the fronts by 1 inch, so we are going to replace that 1 inch to the back. That is what we did right here, and then connected it back to the waistline. Now I'm going to connect just like this down to the crouch. Can you see? So I connected it down to the crouch depth, okay, and then I'm equally going to come out by 1.25 inches and then connect it just like this. Can you see? So this is quite very simple. Now on the knee points, I'm going to come out by 2 inches for the back. Now you guys, what I'm doing here is inputting my seam allowances. So all my seam allowances has been taken to the back. Remember that I did not add any form of seam allowance to the front. So all the seam allowance, both the front and the back, has been taken to the back. I hope you understand. All right, so for instance, let's assume you are making this for a small person and your crouch extension for the back is 2 inches. Make use of 1.5 inches. Okay, so you can see mine is 2.5 inches and I made use of 2 inches. So I am done with this and I'm trying to cut this out. This means that I am done drafting out both the front and the back block. So you can see right now I went ahead to cut out that 1 inch for the fronts. So after that, I'm equally going to go ahead and cut out the lengths, and you guys, we are done with this. So we are going to go ahead and start to sew this together, okay? But before that, let me show you what to do in case you are making use of that. So for the front, you should make use of that depth of 5 inches, and for the back, your depth should be 6 inches, okay? And if you're also making use of that, the dart intake on the waistline should be half inch on both sides, okay? So right here, I'm just trying to show you what to do in case you want to make use of that. But for this tutorial, it is not necessary because I am not making use of that, okay? So here is my fabric. I will go ahead and cut out both the front and the back on fabric. So here is the front. I'm going to cut the back off camera because we don't have much time, but here is the front. Go ahead and pin up the pattern on the fabric. Remember, your fabric should be on fold. Now I'm going to input in ½ inch allowance on the waistline. This ½ inch is what I'm going to use to join the band, okay, to the waist of my trouser. Now I'm going to cut exactly what I have on this paper because we do not add any seam allowance to the front. All our seam allowance was taken to the back. I hope you guys understand. So guys, at this point, you haven't hit on the subscribe button, please join this beautiful family by hitting on the subscribe button, and equally share this video. Give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, leave a suggestion of video that you want me to make in this channel, okay? And I will appreciate that. That is only the little way you can support the growth of my channel, because if you share and like my videos and leave a comment, that way YouTube will actually know that, yeah, this video people enjoy it and they will be able to share me out, okay? So now we are done drafting the fronts. I'm going to notch all the important points. Please, you must notch all your points, the knee point, the hip point. Do not forget to notch it. That way when you are joining it, it's going to be very easy for you. So I will go ahead and equally notch the hip and then cut out the back. So this is my front and the back. I've cut it out on fabric. Now what I'm going to do next is place it on top the table, and what I'll be doing is to bring one of the fronts and one of the back, and I'll be joining the side using 1/2 inch. So guys, I am done joining it. The next thing I'm going to do now is join the front crouch, okay? So what you want to do is place this on the table and make sure that the right side of the two legs of the trouser are facing each other, as you can see on the table, and I will join the front crouch using 1/2 inch. So guys, I am done joining it. Next we are going to close up the back, okay? And to do that, we are going to divide the waist circumference by 2, okay? You can see the way I'm placing it. Just what you're going to do is divide your waist circumference by 2, whatever you have, mark it out, and then move over to the hip. So you know from the crouch depth to the hip is 2.5 inches, so make sure you measure to locate the hip point, and then divide your hip circumference by 2 as well and mark it out. So if you notice, towards the waistline the allowance is very big. It is normal, that is the way it should look, and if you are getting down to the crouch, it will become smaller. So it is actually very okay like that, okay? So guys, I am done joining this. You can see what I have. Next, I'm going to go ahead and close up the down, which is the under of the trouser, okay? So I'm going to arrange it, making sure that they matches each other properly, and then I'll move over to my sewing machine and stitch, okay? Just like this. Can you see the one I'm showing you? I'll go ahead and stitch it using 1/2 inch. All right, so I will go do that and then we come back here. So guys, I am done with that. You can see this is what I have. Now what I'm going to do next is loosen one side, which is where I'm going to be putting my zipper. And please, after loosening it, make sure you iron the zipper allowance, okay? That way it will be very easy for you to fix in your zipper. Now go ahead and measure all around the waistline, as you can see me doing like this. And after measuring it, whatever it is that you have, you go ahead and cut out your band, okay? So I'll be cutting out my bands. I'll be bringing in my piece of fabric and I'm going to fold in just like this. So it is being placed on folds like this, okay? So first of all, I'm going to measure out the width. Can you see? So I'm going to measure out the width. So remember, my width is about 43 inches, but I'm going to cut out 46 just to be on a safer side. And after that, the height of my band, I'll be making use of 2.5 inches. I want the height of my band to be 2 inches. I'll be sewing in with half inch, okay? So I've done that. I've added fusible interface. I made use of hair stay. You can make use of gum stay too. So you can see I folded in one part of the band, and the other part is where I'm going to use to stitch first of all, and the part that I folded in is where I'm going to use to top stitch. Okay, so I will go do that, and after that I will hem the down part using 1 inch. So guys, I am done with this, and this is our pant. I've equally fixing my zipper. As you can see, this is so beautiful. You can see how the down part is looking like it is flared. Can you see? And the upper part is going to be tight on the waistline. So guys, if you find this tutorial helpful, please do make sure to give it a thumbs up and share me out. I will definitely see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye.